Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. My name is Fiona Ungar, and I'm the Partner and Field Marketing Manager at Personetics. The topic presented today is the path for retail and SME banking to a financial data-driven approach. And I would like to welcome Connie Leong, Senior Director of Financial Service Business Lead at Microsoft, and Dorel Blitz, VP of Strategy and Business Development at Personetics. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping notes. This webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording of the webinar in the next couple of days. We will be taking questions throughout the webinar. Please submit your questions in the chat box, and they will be answered at the end of the webinar. And now, I would like to invite Connie to take it from here.
Thank you, Fiona. Welcome, everyone. I'm Connie Leong. I'm part of the Worldwide Financial Services Industry team of Microsoft. I'm based out of Hong Kong, and I cover the Asia Pacific. Today, I'd like to welcome you to our webinar. We talked about the path of retail and SME banking. How do we pivot to a financial data-driven approach? Joining me is Dorel. So Dorel from Personetics, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Connie. Hi, everybody. I'm Dorel Blitz. I'm VP Strategy and Business Development at Personetics, and thank you for having us here today. Just a little bit about Personetics. So we are a global fintech growth company with over 360 employees in 8 global offices. We are being perceived as the world category leader in financial data-driven personalization and customer engagement for financial services. We are all helping these days to over 100 banks in 32 markets to leverage their biggest asset, their own customers' financial transactional data, in order to quickly drive a significant business impact and market differentiation. We are active all over Asia and all over Latin America, North America, and Europe, really helping banks to move from a passive into a smart, proactive approach with their customers, and by doing so, increasing a quick business impact and helping their customers to increase their financial wellness and resilience.
So let's first kick off with what are we seeing as a trend in the retail banking? I would say really the COVID pandemic was really a catalyst for change and really shifting some of our business priorities. And here are some of the things that we're hearing from the market. First is organizational productivity. I think, the fact that we are now remote working, hybrid working, going back to physical and a bit of virtual. I think the productivity is really what we are after, and also breaking down some of the geographical barrier as well, where we are working closely with cross team and across different units and also countries. And I think second one is really important is about customer engagement. I think we'll probably spend some time really drilling into that one. Is I will say the customers are really demanding and also having a different behavior and also going and driving more of the digital. And from our customers' perspective, whether you're talking about insurance banks or capital markets, I think they really need to define their value creation. There's competition from non-traditional bankers and non-traditional players in the market offering financial services to the same customer base. So I think competition is really keen. And of course, we have to, as a financial services industry, we have to look after our risk management. How do we look at our, underwriting and also the credit for our customers, and providing more personalization in terms of really underwriting the right profile and also looking at the right data. And of course, being in a very high regulated industry, we have to be really concerned about security and compliance, particularly in the digital world. The cybersecurity is really top of mind. So if you go to the next one, I would say in terms of really drilling into the retail banking side, I would say we've seen increasing pressures from our customers. First is really about the frictionless customer experience. We talked about that early on. Like 54% of the banks really think about the customer journey as being very important now. And then, of course, we talked about the non-traditional players competition, like 37%. Now we're going to the Gen Y, and then they all choose non-traditional banks for the services. So it's really creating some of the pressure. And then it's really about the changing the business model and also device open banking. 44% of our customers are really planning to integrate some kind of new products and really go into ecosystems. And as I mentioned, I think in this slide talked about 25% of the banks are concerned about cybersecurity and fraud. I think it's actually higher now, given that there's some incidents happening recently and also some outreach of data. And I would say continuously, because of our regulated industry, it's going to be really driving the cost, having a very effective regulation and compliance. The industry is really predicting 70 billion projected in technology spend, whether you're talking about Basel III, you're talking about AML, KYC. And of course, we have to modernize our legacy. We have a huge legacies in our financial services industry. 37% of the banks are exactly really planning to upgrade and also have to cut costs, but also drive continuous efficiency. So this is overall what we are seeing. So Dora, will you say that you're sharing the same perspective from your side?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think one point that is definitely moving forward these days with the global increase in interest, cost of living, and other demographic and politics issues is that we are seeing our clients, banks, and our prospects really focusing on a quick business impact, on increasing the customer's lifetime value. So it really moves beyond just making things nicer and faster and efficient. It's really about where is the next pocket of revenue generating coming from banks, how they can really shift their focus on their own most profitable segments, how they can quick increase their own customers' lifetime value, and how they can moving just beyond the customer experience into the right, I would say, conversion rates, how to match between their own existing product and the customer's existing or future financial needs in order to increase the conversion rates at the right channel, at the right moment. And I think the next point is also when they are thinking about their physical branches, how they can increase the efficiency and the productivity of their bankers with their vast amount of data to bring a very curated, relevant offerings and guidance to their bankers towards their customers.
Yeah, very good point. I think the conversion rate is something that we often hear that because it's traditional ways of marketing campaigns and means are really driving very low conversion, and sometimes the time it takes to get the survey and the feedback, it's also important for our customers. If you go to the next one, I think, you talked about all of, what we are seeing in the market is really trying to balance the short-term pressures versus the long-term. I think the short-term one obviously is like BAU. How can I maintain my business? How can I balance, all the costs that is going into running the bank versus changing the bank? So a lot of things is like really automation. How do we really do a proper risk modeling? And moving into the long-term growth, which is really talking about how do we leverage the cloud more to a cloud native more, actually being more agile, bringing new products to the market, and also using more data and be able to, do the actual customer acquisition, and also focusing more on the Gen Y and Gen Z as a next target customer. So I think overall we see that, our industry is constantly balancing between the short term and the long term one. And I think hopefully some of our services and our partner solutions can help a bit in this trend. Go to the next one. I think we drew about that, right, Dora, when we talked about customer centricity. I think this is going to be, a key topic for today. It's more than important, right? I think the key thing about competition, the key thing about me as an individual, also when we drew into the SME market, everybody doesn't want a one size fits all. Right? I don't want to receive an SMS which doesn't speak to me, or even have a phone call and call me Mr. instead of Miss, right? I mean, basic personalization really required. I think the customer experience is going to be a unique one, and it's going to be really holistically driving the product and the customer experience, and of course, constantly driving the cost down or the price down, so that you can really take care and target, and also drive the conversion rate to be a little bit higher. So if you look at some of the customer experience, as we talked about, being a key priority for banks and capital markets firms, I would say you look across the globe, right? Whether you look at US, Europe, or APAC, or some of the emerging markets, it's really resonating very well across the world. And the top three challenges, we look at APAC, 34% is really going to be, attracting new customers. The investment priority is interesting. Over 51% is going to be investing on customer experience. And of course, the area of innovation is also, split into customer interactions, as well as the just customers' identification and engagement. So I think this is really some of the key. And I think, Dora, you also have been involved in this market. So why don't you also share some of your, engagement that you're in this area?
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think specifically in the APAC region, it's really booming really fast. And you can see some really amazing numbers showing, where are the really top investment priorities. I think, the Asian market, where Personetics is working with some of the largest banks, we are seeing a big competition happening between different leaders and laggards. We are definitely seeing all sorts of challengers coming from different places, mostly virtual wallets or some new digital banks in different markets. And I think the focus is really about how to move beyond just a very good customer experience. And what exactly does it mean, customer experience? Is it only the look and feel of the digital channel, or this is really the ability of a financial institutions to move into a guidance approach, into a much deeper level of understanding its own customers, and able to provide them the right relevant, product-based advice or even an automated solution and be there for their customers. And I think there's a lot of pressure right now on financial institutions, and we are seeing that all over Southeast Asia, to move from just, doing a good customer experience capabilities into really moving into a much more advanced, leveraging AI and machine learning models, looking for a much more future cash flow predictions capabilities, and automate a lot of capabilities even towards their customers. Really, I think it's great synergy with Personetics self-driving finance vision, moving from a proactive, automated capabilities. And I think that's maybe something that is unique about our Personetics platform, is that we are trying in one very unified platform to provide three main objectives to financial institutions. The first one is how we are able to quickly integrate with the bank's different sources of data, different customers' financial transactional data, internal or external, using open banking, open finance, using even cloud accounting software data for the small business customers, and to provide this one unified, aggregated customer intelligence to truly understand customers' financial behavior, past, present, predict the future, understanding their financial relationship even outside of the bank. Once we are able to do that at the deepest level of accuracy using our proprietary AI and machine learning models, then we are able to truly help banks to proactively and smartly engage with their own customers through different channels, physical and digital, and providing all sorts of money management capabilities with hyper-personalized hundreds of insights, alerts, recommendations, product-based advice, even budgeting tools and saving mechanisms. And I think that's something that customers are not just expecting, actually demanding these days, that the banks will help them to better manage their financial life, to stay on top of their finance, increase their financial wellness and resilience, definitely in these times. The last part of that is also how we as Personetics able to integrate with the bank's existing offerings, product catalog, eligibility analysis, propensity models, pricing mechanisms, and the ability to increase the receptiveness and the likelihood through this hyper-personalized customer journey to find the right moment of time, not just to provide customers insights, but also a very relevant product-based advice at the right time, at the right channel, helping customers to actually looking out for them and providing them the right guidance. So the ability to drive the right engagement, the right trust, and at the right moment, at the right channel, provide the product-based advice, even automate some of these capabilities. I think that's the uniqueness of our platform at Personetics, and we are doing that for different needs when it comes to money management and personal financial management capabilities, as you can see on the left, to increase, engagement, trust with customers and looking out for them on their own checking accounts or savings accounts, how to drive action, as I said, and to combining that with a product-based advice or solving a specific multiple needs at the right time, at the right channel, even automate. So again, even helping customers to save automatically for the future or cut the debt or invest without the burden on the customers, moving the burden to the bank so the bank can think and act on behalf of his own customers, helping them to automatically save, cut the debt, invest for the future. And that's the uniqueness, and that's the vision of a self-driving finance.
Yes, indeed. I think, thanks for making it real, right? We've been hearing all these about, how can we have a one simple, seamless experience, omni-channel, whether I start with a journey with a branch and then I can be on a mobile app, and how do I actually have a 360-degree view of everything that I do, and really moving that to the bank so that the bank can put all of that together and serve me better. So that takes us to, what we are driving into, the differentiated customer experience. I think some of the things that you just talked about earlier on really resonates with what we are seeing in the market as well. So we have been, from a Microsoft perspective, we have been helping our customer focusing on that differentiated customer experience. Obviously, the customer engagement is the first step, right? How do you really have the customer's touch point so that customers can feel the difference? And that's a key part of the customer engagement. And then you have to back it up with your, middle or back office, which is really, how can I back it up with customer insights so that I can have a meaningful conversation? And then the insights also drive intelligence. At the end of the day, you want to empower your human, you want to empower your relationship manager or even your app to be able to use AI and augment some of that intelligence. I think that journey is really what we want to make it and really see real from your perspective, Doro. It's really nice to see that is happening. And then, as I say, at the end of the day, it's really about the revenue and profitability of the branch. The customer wallet share, of course, you wanted to have increase your market share. We talked about conversion rate, customer satisfaction, loyalty, all of that comes together. So it's not really something you do it silo. It's something you do it holistically. And when you really look at it in a holistic way, then it differentiates yourself and the customer. So whether you're doing on the contact center, at the end, whether you're doing a services level, I think all of that contributes to that customer journey. So, we touched a little bit on that, and then Microsoft has a, FSI vision, which is really engaging the customer journey from the engagement to conversion to experience, and really from a digital onboarding to, how you really look at a credit monitoring and then offering the right products. So, Doro, tell us how you actually support that Microsoft vision.
Thank you, Connie. So we are a very, great partner, and I really appreciate all this partnership with Microsoft. And one of the things that we've done is doing a lot of integration and capabilities of Personetics, leveraging the great assets of Microsoft, including the Power BI tools, to measuring all the impact of our capabilities, to use the different assets of Azure when we are deploying Personetics on a private clouds of customers, the private Azure, or of course on a SaaS implementations all over Southeast Asia. And the last point is also our deep integration into the Dynamics 365, coming back to what you said, Connie, about the one unified capabilities. And we are doing that in a way that we are taking our deep financial data analysis and able to provide even to the bankers, to the financial advisors, through their own Dynamics 365, a very deep level of real-time financial data analysis on each one of their customers, not on an aggregated level, and providing them curated, hyper-personalized insights and alerts so they can share with their customers. It's really about increasing their productivity and efficiency and providing them a much deeper level of understanding their customers, proactively engage with them, and also able to see what their customers are already receiving in their own digital channels. So we are using different assets of Microsoft through our propositions to make sure that we are leveraging the biggest infrastructure in the market. We are analyzing that. We are providing the right synergy and helping banks through their own, strategy, growth strategy, and their journey, leveraging different partners, different vendors together. And maybe just a point on top of that, of course, it always comes back to the business impact metrics. And one of the things that we are really proud of at Personetics, again, with over 100 banks in 32 markets, it's our clear focus on the business impact and the metrics that we are able to achieve very quickly with our customers, even 4 to 6 months once we are deploying. The ability to help financial institutions to quickly increase not just their digital engagement with their customers or the NPS and the CSAT scores of experience, but really focusing on the conversion rates, like you said, Connie. And we are really proud of these capabilities to reach 17% CTR, click-through ratio, the conversion rates. And this is almost 6 times higher than what we are seeing these days in the markets. And the reason is because unlike marketing analytics systems, which are really important, we are looking on the financial transactional data, the biggest asset, and we are able to create this ongoing interaction, not just the next best action, next best advice, but actually the ongoing hyper-personalized interaction with the customers, and to combine that with the marketing offerings, with other product-based advice capabilities, and even to automate the proposition going forward. And that's the idea here, is how we are helping financial institutions to move, as you can see from the left, from a little bit of a past, basic, passive approach into this much more proactive, hyper-personalized, curated capabilities towards their customers. If it's a retail or a wealth management client, if it's a small business customer, or even just a card holder for a digital banks, the ability to provide them what they need to know, a very curated, purified, relevant content, which is relevant, helping them on the go to understand what's coming up, what they should be aware of, and even providing them the right advice at the right time in a very elegant, easy to understand way that drives the engagement and the business impact out of that.
Yes, indeed. I think, as I say, having the technology platform from Microsoft, and also how you put together and, that customer journey and that conversion rate 6 times, really impressive, because as we have been hearing such a low, and it's been such a pain for our market. So I think with that, let's share some of the exciting experience that you've been working with some of the retail banks here.
Yeah, thank you for that. So maybe one example that we really like to share in actually last week, a couple of days ago at Singapore FinTech Festival, we actually have done a big announcement around that, is our really growing strategic partnership with UOB from Singapore and actually all over Southeast Asia. So this is one of the largest banks in Southeast Asia, and we are partnering with them for several years in different markets with different propositions. And this is some of the great work that we've done with them in the Singaporean market. And we basically are acting as the engine, as the brain for all of this hyper-personalized growth for the bank. And what is really important here, that several months ago, UOB decided that their growth strategy across all over Southeast Asia is really about this personalized experience and how to drive the business impact for the bank, and on the other side, how to increase the financial wellness and the engagement with their customers. And they use Personetics platform for different propositions, and you can see here some of the great numbers that we are able to achieve with the bank to actually quadruple the NPS and the customer engagement scores, to increase by 30% the login into the digital channels year over year, which is great. Also to increase by 50% the click-through rates on these insights and to drive the business impact out of that. And what I really like here is this example in the middle, this buy now, pay later proposition, which is great because this is a product-based advice at the right time for our customers. So a customer is not just getting, a spending increase insights or purchase increase insights. We are also able to understand that customer made right now a specific financial decision, just recently bought a bicycle as an example. We are able to predict his cash flow in a very accurate way. We are able to understand his approved credit line or eligibility analysis or propensity model and provide at the right time, at the right channel, with the right context, a product-based advice. These two examples of an installment loan, a 6 months or a 12 months. These kind of capabilities, once we are doing that at a scale and embedding them within this journey of personalized insights and alerts, that's what really drives a great business impact at a scale. Another example is from UOB Indonesia, and this is following our announcement just a week ago, is this automated self-adjustable saving program. So this is a very unique proposition. It's the first one in Southeast Asia where the bank is helping customers to automatically save for the future. Customers don't need to set up goals or threshold or time limit. This is not a budgeting tool. This is not a spending goals. This is a complete automated saving program where customers can just give one-time consent to the bank, in this case UOB Indonesia, and the bank is able to identify, using Personetics models, different monies, different pockets of money within their checking account, and when the time is right, to move variable amounts of money into the UOB savings account. So again, customers don't need to do anything, just click twice and all the rest is completely automated. We are always looking out for the customers. They will never go into overdraft. We are able to identify and to understand and predict their cash flow. And if for some reason something is went wrong, or we are seeing that the customer is going maybe into overdraft, we can automatically pause or stop this saving mechanism. We can even move money back from the saving to the checking account, always looking out for the customers and helping them to automatically save. And we are seeing that globally, that once we are really providing a much more AI-driven, completely automated and self-adjustable, it's a great win for the bank, and it's an amazing win for their customers, helping them to actually save. What is great about UOB, they're also adding a lot of gamification capabilities, building the city of tomorrow, making it much more fun and easy to use. And again, we're already seeing some amazing numbers going out of that. Once you are able to combine that with open banking, then we are even able to identify pockets of money even outside of the UOB account with other connecting accounts, and again, moving them into the UOB savings account. So the ability for a bank to really looking out for customers, and you can use the same mechanism, not just for saving, also for investments or debt reduction, and really helping customers to better manage their financial life, to increase their trust in their banks as their financial coach, their financial guide. The last example is from iBank, which is a digital bank by Fukuoka Group in Japan. This is a great implementation leveraging Microsoft Azure. We went live in several months. It's a great solution. There's a lot of information about that. But just to explain, this is one of the largest banking groups in Japan that is already deployed the Personetics hyper-personalized insights and alerts in one of their digital banks. It's called iBank in Japan. The usage numbers are very impressive only after several months. And now they are taking the same proposition and deploying that into other regional banks of Fukuoka Group across Japan. The ability to help customers in a very curated way to looking out for their finance, to provide them cash flow predictions, very, very soon also adding product-based advice. And in the Japanese market, there are also a lot of external products that can be combined. That's the great business impact that is going after that. Please, Connie.
Thank you. I think that was really impressive because if you think about, banks trying to do something on the games with the customer is something unheard of, I would say, a few years back. And the other thing is trying to having something to be implemented in a few months. You can't even sometimes do a UAT test in a few months. So I think, this kind of technology and this type of SaaS solution, leveraging the cloud and agility is really impressive. And I would say somehow it's also music to the ears to a lot of our customers. So I'm sure they would like to find out more after this webinar. I think, some of the customers is also saying retail banking is important, but SME market is also equally important for our particular Asia Pacific market. So let's take a little bit to dive into, our next topic on SME. I would say, similar to the individual journey, I would say the SME also have this, what we call a marketplace concept. How do we really support the SME, right? They also sometimes underserved because of their risk profile, a lot of the financial information not readily available. It may not be very, I would say, inclusive in terms of really getting access to funds and loans from the banks. So I would say it's all the way going from a digital onboarding to really how can we help them with a unified account? How do we help them search some of the services and find the banking services? Also, how can we give them a platform to really launch and serve the product? And one of the projects we do with banks here is like the Vision Go project with HSBC. That was really an SME marketplace where it was allowing the customer, the SMEs, to be able to market events, or be able to find their own buyers and sellers. And then ultimately, hopefully, the bank's portfolio on the SME market can grow as well. And then moving down, it can be also looking at sustainability because there's a lot of, I would say, even the smaller customers have challenge in getting the sustainability agenda and also have the infrastructure to support, what you need to report and what you need to be measuring. So I think that really beyond just the cash forecasting or payments data, but holistically, how can we help them with the ecosystem journey? I think that is key. And if we go to the next one, is really as we envision, and hopefully that today we can take a little bit deep dive into, is there a marketplace opportunity where we can really deploy a digital banking platform, right? How do we engage an SME in the experience similar to the retail customer experience? How can we use the transactional data in terms of external data, internal data, and how can we monitor the performance of the business and provide really a banking service, which is, it may be just everything that touches on the SMEs and not necessarily just the financial services part, right? Some of the other providers can also be playing a part in the marketplace. So Dara, what do you see in terms of, the SME market, how Personetics is helping there?
I think that definitely we are seeing a growing competition around the SME market, and it's coming from multiple angles. And I think the first one is definitely there are a lot of, specifically in Asia, there's a lot of new SME digital banks that are really looking out for this market. Even in Singapore, all sorts of new SME loan providers, SME digital banks, and we are seeing them really trying to sweep off the market. And I think from my perspective, I just want to be a little bit provocative maybe, SME banking was always the stepsister, if you will, in the digital banking world, and it hasn't received the same, investment, if you will, as we are seeing in the retail banking. But also, I think the small business owners these days having the right digital banking literacy and are really not just expecting, actually demanding to receive the same relationship and the same experience as they are receiving as retail banking customers. And I think that's what we are seeing. This growing, I think, competition is really coming up quite quickly. Definitely now with the increase of interest rates, those kind of small business owners are looking for new ways to refinance, to receive lending, definitely to think about their deposits. And we are seeing a lot of new regulations supporting that across Asia. I think also there is a really greater disparity between the leaders and the laggards. I just saw a couple of weeks ago a big report by McKinsey really speaking about the differences between leading banks with over 30% higher revenue per small business customer than the laggards. And the reason of that is the focus on the data. And it's mostly coming outside of the bank. And it's mostly coming about the ability to quickly analyze vast different sources of financial data to truly and in real time understand the small business customers and the ability to provide them the right products, not the same relevant products, to find the right curated products, right offerings, the right channels, to connect to the small business owners in their own relevant channels. Some of them likes to use, cloud accounting softwares and not always to work directly with the bank, or they're using payroll systems, how to combine that into the data. And that requires, I think, a very unique proposition in that space. We know that, most small business customers are definitely not satisfied with their banking relationship, but it's not just that. They're actually already going after new offerings in the markets. And that's the difference that we haven't seen maybe 2 or 3 years ago, is that we are definitely starting to see a big movement of serious small business customers that are not just considering, but actually moving and start to bank with other, I would say, competitive providers in the market. And I think if banks won't be able to look specifically on that space, they are going to lose that at some degree if they are not really analyzing the right data, providing the right purified opportunities. Where we are coming from as Personetics is the ability to provide a specific, separated, unique proposition for the small business owners. And we are able to look on their own different sources of financial data, again, in real time, to analyze that from different sources, the ability to provide them curated information about their own financial situation, even from receivables and payables, to monitor their activity in real time, to provide a deep level of cash flow analysis, helping them to set up their own budgets, providing them tax offering, product offering. So the ability to provide, unlike retail banking, a much more wider, vast specific capabilities, including the wellness automation out of that. And I think the idea is to expand this delivery with connectivity. And I just saw a great announcement last night from one of the largest banks in Southeast Asia, specifically on that space, really trying to take the lead. How to combine external sources, how to combine these open finance capabilities, how to drive the right analysis in real time, how to help small business owners to understand what's coming up, to providing them the right, very easy to understand graphical trackers, how to truly forecast their cash flow, including different sources, how to provide them, as an example, invoice finance offer, even from a data that is coming outside of the bank. I think there are so many things that can be done in this small business world, and we are really looking forward to expand our offering and seeing the great leaders in that market working towards this specific segment. One of the great examples that we always like to show is how a really true holistic cash flow management looks like. How a bank can provide the right tailored advice to a customer, providing the right analysis of their cash flow summary, the calendar view in a very easy way to access what is the sensitive period out of that. And exactly as I explained, this invoice finance offer at the right time. We are seeing this specific use case keep coming and coming from so many banks around Southeast Asia and other markets, looking to understand in real time their customers' liquidity situations, coming even from invoice outside of the bank, unpaid invoice, the ability to analyze that in one place and providing the right offerings. And this is right now a blind spot for so many banks that don't know the outstanding invoices, and the ability to combine that and to provide a relief options is becoming even much more important these days. The last point is that our proposition is it's not just for the small business owners, it's definitely also for the bankers. We can provide this very curated financial data-driven approach for the bankers using the Microsoft Dynamics 365, using the Power BI tools, to really help the small business bankers to gain a real-time analysis on their small business customers, providing them a deep level of understanding, providing them the right suggestion, the right product-based advice, the right event analysis or the trigger analysis to provide the right relief option to their customers.
Yeah, indeed. I think there is so much opportunities for the SME. When you think about how do we want to address that, I think one of the challenge from the customer or the banks is they don't have a holistic platform. They don't have a holistic view of everything that touches the customer. And also there's no mechanism to, integrate external data, as you mentioned. I think, at the end of the day, if you can combine everything, and that will ultimately reduce your cost of offering. I think that's where the cost is a challenge, and the time and the legacy and all the huge, system that we have to integrate and also have to connect to be able to bring that one holistic journey that you just described. So tell us a little bit more when you think about the integrated platform, what Personetics is really thinking about and what's behind the scene for you.
So one of the things that we are really trying to do at Personetics is to provide a one unified integrated platform. So as not just to change or not just to deal with one segment. One of the things that we've done in the last couple of years is to create this engagement builder. This is our under the hood platform. This is the codeless creation and management console that gives our clients, the banks by themselves, the ability to use the Personetics AI machine learning models for their own benefits, to analyze them by themselves, to add their own internal models or external models, but also to modify all of these out-of-the-box hundreds of insights, alerts, and recommendations that we are providing. So a lot of our banks, a lot of our clients, like UOB that I've mentioned before, are using this platform to modify existing insights, to change triggers, dependencies, and logic by themselves, to create from scratch their own hyper-personalized insights, to segmentize, to simulate, and really to accelerate their own innovation and adapt to market changes. So this is a living and breathing platform that is able to, in one data integration, to support multiple channels, multiple use cases, multiple segments, and to provide the right ongoing support. So instead of going after each segment by itself, there is a one unified platform that can support that, of course, on a cloud-based or a private cloud base, in a very quick and agile and scalable way. We are also able to integrate, of course, through this platform with different marketing analytics platforms, or of course, customers and banker CRM channels. And maybe just to summarize this point, we are able to provide these different assets, different products of Personetics or different solutions for different capabilities, starting with really analyzing, categorizing, enriching the data, and understanding the customer's real-time financial behavior. Then moving into the engage, our hyper-personalized insights, alerts, trackers, recommendations towards the customers and the platform to support that. And as I've mentioned from UOB Indonesia, this automated, self-adjustable savings or investments or debt reduction programs. And the last one, helping banks internally, helping the digital teams, the product team, the bankers in the branches to truly discover their own customers' financial relationship and to better serve them through different use cases and channels. And maybe as the last point here is the ability, that's what we are seeing in the industry, is bring the whole bank to the customer, to deepen the customer's relationship. The focus these days is banks going after the relationship model and the business model out of that, how they can develop the right relationship with their customers, how they can monetize this relationship with their customers, this customer lifetime value, like you said, Connie, the conversion rate. And to do so, banks need to move into the much more deeper analysis of their own customers' financial data to provide this proactive, ongoing guidance and support to understand customers going forward with predictive analytics, with cash flow management, with product-based advice, to provide this cross-channel intelligence. So not just to support the digital channels, but definitely also the physical channels, and really expand the relationship to the relationship depth to manage a complete financial needs for customers. When we are seeing the future moving into even embedded finance, banks will need to use that in order to track their customers even into other channels and to provide the right relationship depth, no matter where, no matter how fast it's going into.
I like that, bringing the whole bank in deepening the customer relationship. So I think here, what we really like to talk about is how do we really make it happen, right? What is it from the Microsoft plus Personetics? We talked about the customer experiences. We talked about some of the references cases and how we see the market move on the retail and on the SME market. So let's take a look at what's behind the scene, how technology is really enabling that. So I would say, if I summarize what we're seeing in both the banking segment in terms of how modernization and transformation is really critical. I mean, we share a lot of what we need to do, breaking down some of the legacy. How can we bring the data together and actually act like a challenger bank? I think that was I would say, number one challenges with our traditional customers is, all the agility that you talked about. How can I turn around the nudges? How can I do the real time analytics, bring external data right away? I can turn around and give you an express offer. If it doesn't sound like I have a feedback loop, to give you another one based on your feedback. So I think that agility is really what our customers are really going after, and to some extent the cloud, and also some of the tools that you just mentioned about earlier on the Dynamics or the CRM, also on the Power BI, how to turn around the dashboard. I think those are really the tools that enable our customer to be able to act like a challenger bank. But at the end, we also need to modernize our key systems. So we have many of our legacy systems, whether you look at productivity tools, you look at your data analytics tool, whether you look at CRM or your credit control and all of that, and also augmented with some of the intelligent automation with some of the AI mechanism. I think those are really something that we continue to see how our customers are going to modernize it with technology. And then the third pillar is everybody is innovate rapidly, because if you take like a year, it's going to lose the market, right? And now you can implement in a few months, you can bring a new product in a few months. I think that time to market is really key. And that continuous innovation is really what we're seeing in the market. And then at the end, it's really, not everything has to be built in-house. I think from that perspective, it's really how do you partner with, a solution provider like Microsoft and the platform side, like Personetics on the services side. How do you bring some of the fintechs and complement what you're doing so that you can launch product quickly and also, fail fast, learn fast, that type of, technology adoption and also the business outcome adoption. I think that's really key. If you go to the next one, I think how do we all bring it all together, right? At the end is when Microsoft launched the Financial Services Cloud. And this is really to address for right now, it's initially for retail banking, we're extending it to others on insurance and capital market. It's really how do we bring one holistic platform, having all the data across it so that you can have a connectors that people can connect to it. You can have external data, internal data. We can also have a partner like Personetics and others to work on that one seamless platform to really transform something like your customer onboarding, your customer unified profile, your predictive targeting, your AI machine learning, fraud detection, and also running it off a secure and compliant. Because at the end of the day, you need to run it on a trusted cloud. You need to be really have the highest security defense so that you can protect everything, which is from phishing to others attacks. So I think this is really how the technology has become a key enabler for driving that business outcome. So from taking another deep level, how does it, Microsoft, how do we make the platform that works for everyone? It's really bringing all of our first party solution, like the cloud, which is Azure, what Daryl talked about, our Office 365 and also Dynamics and our Power Platform, our data platform, even LinkedIn and GitHub, so that it actually can be interoperable. And then we can help our customer to really build the data and have that industry common data model to work across, and bringing our partner ecosystem. And then you see how Microsoft plus Personetics actually make it real for just the retail banking and SME market. And then, of course, under the one security and compliance infrastructure. And then you can really differentiate your customer experience. You can really monetize. You can then have your customer insights and optimize your operation. So if I actually summarizes how we together from Microsoft and Personetics for bankings, we share a lot today. If I might just summarize it, I think it's really how can we bring the two and marry them together from a technology provider, from a banking services offering. How can we give you the capabilities that you can really enhance with leading capability of customer engagement? And also we can also personalize it with the activities with real-time insights and data with very deep banking expertise and experience. And of course, we can massively scale. I think scale is really the name of the game. Is how can I scale with the mass retail? How do I scale with the mass SME and have a global, some of our customers are operating in the regional, some of them are in the global scale, and also, be able to be regulated and then compliance with all these local regulations and meeting those requirements. I think that's really where I think we will be able to help you in today's technology and the solutions that we offer. So with that, Doro, do you have any final remarks for our customers?
Yeah, I really appreciate that, and we are a proud partner of Microsoft, and I really also agree with you, Connie, on the scalability. It's also about the agility and the flexibility, but it's also about the time to market, and how when financial institutions looking these days about a quick time to market and the ability to quickly drive also a business impact. I think, this unique synergy between Personetics and the amazing infrastructure and capabilities of Microsoft is able to support that at a scale and provide the relevant, market leadership with our customers that we are working with.
Thank you, Connie and Dorel. That was very insightful. I hope you all enjoyed the webinar as much as I did. And now it's time for some questions. Connie, the first question is for you. Is cloud a game changer?
Well, I would say definitely. I think I've been at Microsoft 9.5 years now. I would say the first time when I go to the customers on the bank and ask and talk about digital transformation, the reality at that time was that, hey, I know what cloud is, but it's not good for me. The market is not ready. My compliance team is not ready. The regulators are not allowing me to do cloud. If you fast forward 9 years, I would say fast forward even 4 or 5 years at that time, all the regulations has been opened up. We have been engaging with the regulators in the region and globally. We've been talking to over 120 regulators, and we just had a regional regulatory summit last week at the back of the Singapore FinTech Festival, talking about what's next, and cybersecurity is one of the topics. But nowadays, I would say customers are really asking, what can I do on the cloud is not why I need the cloud. So how can I do a fast adoption? Because I would say technology is really a game changer, and cloud and AI, and all of those connectivity and collaboration tools that we come up with, it's really a game changer from a end-to-end journey perspective. No longer are you looking at a silo product, you're actually looking at an integrated platform, as we share early on. So cloud definitely give you the time to market, give you the agility. You don't really need to have a team deploying on-prem where you have to be physically flying to a location and really installing in a server and making everything work. You just have to sit here remotely and you can switch on everything, and you can also install the latest, as I say, the cyber defense on the security side, because a lot of times security is the weakest link is on the node side, on the last end. So I think the cloud definitely give you more secure and also the latest and on that side. And also at the end of the day, it's a cost, right? And it's really moving from a OPEX, right, CapEx to an OPEX. So you really no need to provision a huge data center and then really look at your 3 to 5 years plan. Cloud is pay as you go, so you can shut it down, you pay by the minute. So I think that agility and that cost efficiency is really bringing that. And then we hear about, a couple of months bringing products to the market. That's not heard of in the traditional way. So I think overall, the cloud definitely has been a game changer, and particularly for some of the challenger banks. And hope some of the traditional banks can really take that adoption in a much faster way and also in a much smarter way, because you can take cloud in any business unit. You don't have to really look at it from a very, taking every legacy out, but you can really surround it with different solutions, with partner solutions like what we talked about today. And then you can really get a lot of business outcome.
Next question is for Dorel. What is your experience in the Asian market? Yeah,
I just want to comment on what Connie said. I can say from Personetics' perspective that in the last 2 years, actually, there is a growing number, almost 50% of our implementations globally is definitely on a cloud, Azure, of course, and we are seeing that happening specifically even in Asia. And I'm really glad to hear about the leadership and what Connie is driving around that. Some of our biggest implementations right now, from Australia to the Philippines to Japan, as I've mentioned, with iBank and all over Southeast Asia, is actually we are seeing more and more banks are looking after the cloud as a much more quick time to market, much more secure and scalable. And that's exactly the point around that. What we are seeing from our perspective at Personetics all over Asia is the focusing on banks on two folds. One, it's moving beyond, as I said, just the retail banking. We are getting a lot of great momentum in our discussions and implementations around definitely small business customers and even the wealth management customers that are looking for a much more curated, proactive approach and not just a traditional approach until these days. So definitely moving into other segments and other propositions and not just on the retail banking side. The second point is definitely around this wellness automation, as we've done with UOB Indonesia, which is the ability of banks to move the burden again from their customers back to them. So the banks are finally taking the right ownership, if you will, and helping customers in these days, definitely with these hardships, looking out for customers, not just in a way that providing them the insights and the alert, but even thinking and acting on behalf of their customers. So we have a lot of announcements coming up of these very similar UOB Indonesia AutoSave proposition, where banks are thinking and acting on behalf of their customers, again, helping them to automatically save, cut a debt, invest for the future, if it's a retail or a small business or affluent customers. And this is really living the vision of Personetics' self-driving finance.
Thank you everyone for joining us. We appreciate it. I'd also like to thank Connie and Dorel. If you have any questions, please email marketing@personetics.com.